worried. I mean, Yoe, he was in the wrong spot. He knew exactly where the entire team was. The scan was perfect coming out from the supports, and he still looked to farm in one of those spots that would have been under vision, right? I always talk about it, where a lot of the tier 1 carries, they know the exact range of any clipboard, so that they know that if you're suspicious that a team is going to be looking to patrol around that with a smoke of deceit, you play just on the edge of it. So you're just outside of the vision, you're not giving anything away, but Yoe just got greedy. He farmed a small camp that he didn't need to.
Dire structures are fortified.
Summit might be able to even up the tier 2 towers. Got Crush on the high gun. In the position to be able to jump in. Gets the arena. Yoe in some of the blade fury to protect himself. The fob is lacking for the moment. In the end, Mercury will be able to charge into the midst of the walls, into the backline. No, Krish. He actually wants to take the fight. Target the line and Trezam. It's an early use of the curse, so this will definitely enable the Enigma. Mercury, though, still falling lower and lower. Yoe's going to be able to secure the kill, but it does come at a cost, as Krish will be brought down to the arrows from Unknown.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
It was just a little bit more of that focus that they needed onto the Leshrac, right? Nihilism, it just means you need to commit a little bit further, and the cost is going to be the Storm Spirit. So West Swing going in favor of Summit, and got basically everything that you could possibly want right now on the Medusa. Daedalus beyond this, like he absolute beast on Unknown.
I do think for TNC that was a really awesome way with how they tried to take the fight. Again, we were speaking a lot about through the draft, there was kind of the Summit supports line. Wyvern, you really want to survey fights and spellcast freely, and a hero that can jump you on the backline is going to be difficult for you to deal with. And finally, we saw Stormsbird get both. That Vortex AoE, found the line, found the Wyvern, so it forced out a very early use of the curse, and it wasn't a curse that you could use to save someone against the Omni Slash, or save someone versus the Jug running you, or save someone versus the Black Hole. So if you can do that again on Krish, then the next fight, that will very much enable the Enigma to get a big Black Hole.
To me, it feels a little bit like, it's gonna sound rough, but they're like not actually respecting Bok all that much, right? To be able to drop these Winter's curses without the Black Hole being expended, he's still not gonna have a Linkers for quite some time. But to be honest, Bok's impact has been kind of minimal this game. You know, I mentioned at the very start to you, like, how much faith do you have in him? Of course, he's a very solid long-term Enigma player, but really haven't felt too much of his impact outside of maybe one Black Hole this game.
5-man smoke from TNC. Look at Trezam's position, though. This is a really cool spot from the Wyvern. As the ward at the mouth of the pit. So they're going to see them pick up the rune. They know they're smoked. They see Crush underneath the ward, though. Doesn't get the BKB off fast enough. None of the damage has already been dealt. Crush. It should be brought down. No, he's got to pop a BKB. Still in the shot. It's off the mark. It actually pushes Crushes away.
One more second.
Wow.
I'm surprised that he lives there as well, to be honest. I was like, come on, Trezam, because he had the Blink Dagger. He could have come in there with the Cold Embrace, and well, he's after the fact. Thing is, though, TNC didn't really expend too much of anything, and now Summit have lost that high ground ward that they had previously. It just expired as he was making his retreat, so really the only information they have is right in front of the pit, whereas got the high ground advantage more to the right side on TNC. Could be the difference maker.
Only thing expended was the beat ons. Krish is lacking some mana, nothing crazy. TNC once again, another smoke and straight to Mercury. They go, but they're going to be cautious as they group up. Black Hole already, Curse is already. Wyvern might be trouble, blocks up on the fight and unable to do so. Look at Trezam's position. Gets the Curse, he counts the Black Hole, and Unknown is in the middle, just dealing all the damage required to kill off the Juggernaut and TNC. They've got to get out. They've got to evacuate, but they won't be able to as Unknown is pumping in the damage left, right, and center. Onto the fifth they go as Tusk will be killed off to end the fight, and once again, Unknown reigns supreme.
I love it that my girl Wyvern's able to do something like that. It was, look at Dicey, you know, we're standing in the Shadow Amulet, getting hit by the Midnight Pulse and a lot of other AoE damage, but at the end of the day, all you need to do is press R, and then suddenly Enigma, his impact falls off. Hopefully, Ifus Frog isn't watching this, because we do have a patch in 2 days. Wyvern's a terrible hero, and it needs buffs.
Who knows how different that fight could have been. If Enigma has the action, then Wyvern gets sucked in, all of a sudden you get a 3-man black hole, there's a curse council. Now you could be potentially taking second Roche, which now gives the Ag Shard and the Ages over to Unknown on the Medusa.
So how do you kill this, honestly? Like, I honestly feel like Unknown is unkillable right now. You're up against a Enigma with Black Hole. We always mention the big counter to any kind of huge teamfight ultimate is a second life, whether it be Wraith King, whether it be Aegis. So that's obviously going to be super impactful. You don't have the Spirit Vessel, which is one of the big ways that you're able to deal damage to a Medusa or a Lashrak early on, so that's also a factor. And I've mentioned before, like, I think we've seen it once or twice, that you get the perfect Black Hole, you get an Omni Slash, even if you... As long as you get a Cold Embrace onto the target, they're going to live. They're going to enable this turnaround potential. So I just feel like everything's going in the way of Summit right now, and for good reason. Their draft is just better.
We're seeing it really transition, not only in the gold, but the experience as well. You got Medusa just hitting level 25, so has the split shot modifiers. Crush on the Mars is 24. He's ridiculously high level. Very impressed with how much he's been able to get across the map, and we could potentially...
Speaking of levels, look at Carlo though. 21 on this task. Like, he's having a very, very good game.
I'm in trouble here. Big game people do nothing since they hold the punch for the last second, and now with the damage being dealt, he's still gonna go for the TPR. They're gonna get on top of him. Nice use. Onto Yoa to slow down the Jug's damage, but they just get him. Oh my lord.
That was close. I was just singing your praises, Carlo, and then you nearly throw that one away with the slightly early Walrus punch. What? You're close to that Lincoln's on the Enigma. With that kill, the one to get the kill, Mr. Bok, but there it is. Got it available to him now. The thing is, like, how do you not show at all on the map? Because you still have the Aegis factor. Like, you might be able to get the perfect Blink Black Hole that's not interruptible with a Winter's Curse, but so what? You know, if he's just going to be alive again for the second time, it's actually not worth it.
With the Lincolns as well,
all fears.
Could potentially curse a teammate on the Black Hole, and the taunt's going to affect... Well, he's going to have BKB, I suppose.
He'll have BKB on, yeah. I mean, the only other thing is Grimstroke breaks it with Soul Button. That's the only other thing. Never mind, Grimstroke's on the other team. Yeah, there's nothing.
Oh, okay, this is big. Bok has ninja gear. So... a neutral item that is very important for the Enigma, just to make sure he's under the cover, so they will not have, you know, the ward advantage to be able to scout him out. They're not going to know the angle that Enigma is coming from.
I kind of wish that they backpacked the Quickening Charm though, just so that you can ninja gear and always have that one available, but Bok knows best. Gonna not trust the guy. Far more games in Enigma than I have.
Carla's close to the Scepter, man. How can we see him looking to utilize his Scepter in fights?
I mean, whenever you've got someone like a Juggernaut or a Tusk that are so effective at the single target pickoff, it's always going to be great just to have a tool to isolate people. So Carla's going to be great.
They see Crush. He's so split from the team. Mega trouble. Mars not going to get any assistance. Once again, picked off for the second time in a row. They are not getting anything out of this Aegis.
And they cleared out the creep wave as well, so you're not actually able to continue this push on forward to claim another outer tower. It's a big deal, right? It's probably the best kill that you could have wanted at this stage of the game. 3, closing in on his level 25 though. Pretty big deal, just amping up a lot of the Diabolic Edict explosions, especially again against the Juggernaut, right? He's opted into this spin-oriented build. Lots of attack modifiers like the Mjolnir, the Eye of Skadi, and the 2 Blade Fury DPS talents, plus the Aghanim Shard. So it just means that it's not going to be quite as effective when you're coming up against this on the Leshrac with a Diabolic Edict explosion. It's going to punish the fact that you think you're safe when in reality you're not.
I like this a lot from TNC. It's not like they could have done much damage to the high ground, but they forced Unknown back, they forced Trezan back. They saw the Medusa, so this is...
Okay. 20 seconds, Aegis timer, right? It's just, how can you get vision? Carlo's got the axe. If they can isolate him away from the team and get that...
All right! Nice kick. Instant use of the stone gaze though.
3 seconds.
Able to force that back to the high ground, but that is BKB's stone goes expended, so Buck, he's going to consider jumping. Christian's on the same as well against the doubles, and now the black hole. The damage is being rained into the Medusa. Now she's got to buy back, so TNC, I don't think they're going to get too much done with this, but man, what a read from TNC to find an angle back in.
Radiant's bottom
Yeah,
Radiance is
it's
under
Carlo,
attack.
man. Carlo is the one that's doing it for his entire
Again,
team.
they keep the left shot back now, but instantly crushed for the arena. Is it going to be enough to be able to keep him alive? A cold embrace at the last second. Mercury is being healed up, and that's enough. That is enough. What a play from Trezam, and Crush instantly jumping into the middle, not worrying about their life. They protect the Lesh with their ultimates, and they get a kill as well.
They get the kill, but you still had the buyback used by Unknown, so TNC are honestly feeling incredibly happy with how that turnaround went. You know, like, they were able to force that out. Sure, they don't get the kill, but they get the thing that's much more valuable, the win condition enabler. And, you know, I was talking about it before. We saw it that time with the Cold Embrace being able to be used to save the Leshrac, but
Dire's courier has
previously
been
it felt
killed.
like Trezam panicked. Like, he didn't have the presence of mind of this is exactly what I need to do in these team fights. And I've been mentioning it all game, right? Winter's Curse, great against the Enigma, but if he has that Lincoln Sphere, you've got the secondary way to be able to protect a target in the Cold Embrace. And he was just walking around for a solid 3 seconds while Medusa was being Omni-slashed. He had Cold Embrace up the entire time and he was in range.
Dire's bottom tower.
So what's the
is
play
under
now for
attack.
Summit? You know, Black Hole cooldown for 70. I have to imagine they got the timer. The Grimstroke down for 20. Like,
Dire's
what do you
How
do?
ballsy can you be is the question, right? Like, you've got all of your ultimates available in 10 seconds. Doing his best to be able to clear out the wave. I mean, that's exactly what he needs to do, right? Delay for the black hole, and you know that Summit aren't going to feel comfortable going up onto a high ground against a Tusk with no buyback against the Medusa. I mean, it's just going to be super good, right? As long as you've got
Dire's
that...
bottom tower is under
He's going to
attack.
take Mercury alone. The BKB's going to do nothing, my friend. With the TP starting to come through from the T2 tower, let's see if Mercury's going to be able to stay alive for that long. But as soon as the nihilism expires your way, he can separate in the middle, provide plenty of damage to get rid of the last track. Crush it too late to the party. Drop to arena. Unknown's going to be able to follow in, but Crush is now the threat of the black hole. It's up in 15 seconds. Crush need to deal with the supports. It's going to target the Wyvern for the moment at the back line. They get the Wyvern. They got the Wyvern, so there's no way to cancel now, really.
Oh, well, this is an exciting game one of a new DPC. 2 gems on the deck as well. Rush picks up one. Unknown walks past another. Never mind, CZY also walks past another. There we go. He's got 2 gems, one for each eye.
Go. Playing Crush. Oh, what are you? Reveal himself. BKB still cooldown. Aeon is on cooldown as well. And Crush, he's got a buyback, but he doesn't. Now Unknown. Wait. For the soul. But he's in trouble. Almost touched the last second of minute.
That's
the glass is going to be game. That's just game. Steps too far. Another pick off. Oh no, Summit. What happened?
Radiant's middle tower is falling.
You don't call it straight away. The potential to be able to turn around with like the perfect Winter's Curse into the lash damage, but Trezam, you can't go too far forward. Who's got the gem on TNC right now? Still no gem on the Grimstroke, but he doesn't want to be the one that's forward.
Oh, heart. Let's up in 10. We've got Glyph at least.
You've got Bok using Lincoln on the Juggernaut, and Storm has his own, so I think they're just going to split. You might lose one person, but you're not going to lose both. You're going to have to give something up here.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
They went and bought the Aghanim Shard as well on the left track.
Jump Mercury, there we go. Box in. A single black hole. There's going to be no answer as the crits come through thick and fast. And yeah, that's looking like it's game. And they call it TNC. It took them a while, 45 minutes in the end, but they will be able to find their game 1 victory.
Those little mistakes that amplify into so much more, right? I was saying they had the better draft, and I still do honestly believe that on Summit. It was just a little bit of uncertainty with how to use certain heroes to its full potential, and at the
First blood. First blood. From a deep cut notch, the rain sap flows. Rises. I think not. You will know next. Lose life, but not spirit.
Radiant structures are fortified.
What have we here?
Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
You may not have it.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant are scanning. Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
New treasures.
Dire team ban.
one-sided game, which is exactly what you want to see. You want to kick off the season in a bit of a shaky showing, but I'm hoping we'll go the distance here for our first series.
It doesn't always have to be the best Dota as long as it's the most entertaining.
Radiant team ban.
TNC just out-executed, and that could be on the back of a bit more of the solid
Dire team pick.
comes through that was able to nurture someone like Krish. You know, they gave him the last pick of the draft,
Radiant
a new
team
player, they gave him a comfort hero, and they said we made life very simple for him. Maybe Summit were just thinking in too many variables as opposed to this is what you need to do, just focus entirely on that, let someone else deal with X, Y, and Z.
Looks like Summit, they're going to
10
change up their
seconds
bench
remaining.
just a little bit here with Enigma getting taken care of. Coddle as well. TNC,
5
Timber,
seconds
and
remaining.
Pugna have been banned out. Summit back into the Crush Mars. I think
Dire team pick.
happy with his performance until kind of the last 10 minutes or so. It kind of started to crumble there from Mr. Crush, and we will see no difference on Summit. Okay.
Name draft. I mean, again, they were in a winning position, so why not just continue it? Again, Enigma is one of those heroes that's actually really good against the Medusa, right? Because a lot of your stuff is AoE. Even if you go something like a BKB or a Lincoln's, the Midnight
10
Pulse
seconds remaining.
is still going to go through the damage. It's based on your current HP as opposed to max
5
HP, so
seconds remaining. Dire team ban. Radiant team ban. Dire team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban.
Can that be an excuse anymore for players?
I don't think it can. Maybe like
Radiant
since we're
team
this
Radiant
close to a big
team.
patch, you don't want to like really
Dire
train up
team
on a
Radiant
hero and then it
team.
just goes in the bin. Like Doom. Doom a lot. Paired together with a Grimstroke, good percentage-based damage against a Medusa, prevents from getting off Stone Gaze. Really, really like it. I still think TNC are just hoping that Lena somehow slips through and they're able to pick it up for Krish
10
here.
seconds remaining.
Great against Medusa. You've got the better rotating heroes, plenty of
5
stuns.
seconds
I think
remaining.
it's just to be a solid pick. And if Summit look to go for it, I think you can just like Death Prophet or something, and he's going to be pretty solid into Summit's lineup so far.
Does this kind of show how the lanes are going to be set up though from TNT? Because aren't you kind of expecting a Doom
Dire
Grim lane and then
team,
a
Dire
Tusk
team.
5?
Radiant team pick.
Potentially. I mean, I think they could still very comfortably go. I mean, now you have to lean it, surely, right? Against an Undying, you don't really have a Tombstone hitter. Against the Medusa, you outrange it. It's a solid laner. You can ban out the bigger counters to it. I'd be stunned if TNC don't go for it right now. In terms of your
10
question,
seconds remaining.
I think Tusk is fine together with the Doom. Depends, right? Like you
5
don't really,
seconds
you're not able to
remaining.
contest very easily into it, and you don't want to anymore, considering it's a dual strength lane into an Undying. But Undying and Medusa don't have any stuns, so I feel like Carlo can just go like early boots, tangos, and pull waves, and look to be a bit more passive and farm that way. Don't actually lane into it.
If they don't go down the Lena route in the 18th, is there any other heroes you would be hoping to see them pick?
Not really. Baylesh, I don't know. Like I just feel like it ticks so many boxes. Krish Comfort Hero, it's a Tombstone hitter. It can burst down a Rubik or a Mars, and you've got range against. It's just
Dire
really
team ban.
solid,
Dire
and you've
team
got the
ban.
bans to be able to get rid of it.
Assassin.
Really aggressive for that lane. I mean, we love a PA Grimstroke lane, especially against a Mars, right? One of these more strong laners, but not super strong if you're able to abuse like a level 2 timing. See
10
if she goes like the Orb of
seconds
Corrosion
remaining.
style of build. They might even tri-lane at the very beginning of this on
5 seconds
TNC.
remaining.
Never know.
I think you definitely should if you're with a toss lineup. The amount of extra damage you can get out of tag team is ridiculous. So I like this from TNC, although I think it now does like a PA toss lane sounds kind of weird. So then they're going to go toss Doom. And again, I kind of mentioned my concerns about that before. Now even more difficult, I think, the Undying, but they'd probably just look to pull the wave and kind of sacrifice a lane. So Medusa's going to get a lot of farm out of that. And now we are looking for
Radiant team
opposition
banned.
twos, both for Krish and also Mr.
Dire
Mercury.
team banned.
Lena go, guys.
Ten
So
seconds remaining.
I feel like Summit needs to get rid of that now. So what's left? I mean, Ember Spirit is pretty much his only other like real comfort hero, and it's not an amazing Ember game.
Why don't you like the Ember this game?
I mean, Grimstroke enables it, right? But it's not really a tomb hitter. It doesn't
10
deal with the
seconds
Medusa that
remaining.
amazingly. And I feel like you don't have enough.
5 seconds.
I guess
remaining.
it's good tempo,
Remaining.
right? Like you've got a Doom and a PA that want to be sitting back and farming. So actually, you're right. It might actually be a pretty decent Ember Spirit game just because they need something that's going to pair together with this Grim and Tusk, and Pool is running thin.
Yeah, I think you're just looking for. I want a tempo hero because I think PA Doom can be pretty farm intensive. You're going to need a way to be able to combine with the Inkswell. I think that's the main thing. You've got the lane, of course, with the PA Grim. Doom, I guess, is actually okay, like Blink War Stomp into Inkswell, but I really like another hero. I think we both value the Grimstroke very heavily, especially that Ag Shard. So if you can just have multiple heroes that you can give the Ag Shard over to, then a whole lot easier. So
Dire
Ember,
team pick.
Void, I don't know if they quap. They're going to have...
just Pango. They just Pango, man. I still feel like it's good. Swashbuckle with a Tusk,
Radiant team.
pretty great.
Radiant team.
The sack.
Like, I think it would have been a decent Snapfire game, but they've banned it out themselves.
10 seconds remaining.
Do they Death Prophet? No, they banned it.
5 seconds remaining.
Can't Sniper.
I'm just looking at heroes that I feel like could fulfill the role that they're lacking.
Tempo, aggression that
Yeah.
isn't going to get stomped in lane. I feel like that's the issue, right? There are heroes that can fulfill one, but not both.
Yeah, and
So
that can kind of be the issue sometimes when you have this 24th pick. Like sometimes it's really you need a lot
Ember
at the
Spirit.
Now
end.
select your hero.
Do still go for the Ember Spirit, so it's
I mean, he had a bad lane last game, and they were able to make it work, right? Because of the rotations coming through from people like Carlo and Mavis. So maybe they're just putting faith in that to happen again. They're like, look, just don't feed. And make sure you're being very vocal and calling for us to come and help when you really need it. And don't mess up your bowl refill again. So I still think that this Undying has the potential to have an amazing game, just because you don't have a real egg hitter, tombstone hitter. It's going to enable the Leshrac quite heavily, the Wyvern, of course, but you're not really needing to worry about any kind of BKB piercing disable as much. So the Soul Rip is just going to have a really solid impact. Like, Summit have a pretty good draft, man. Like,
and
in terms of like ticking off all the boxes, they tick off more in my eyes.
did you mention the Bok Tusk?
No.
The 3 Tusk. So
Okay, I'm going Summit.
everyone, Mr. Gonad really does not like a position 3 Tusk. So like, he really doesn't like a 3 Tusk. So that's why it was the instant answer in the summon after he saw that. I feel like for TNC, they're going to have a big BKB timing. I think there's going to be a lack of damage on Summit. As soon as TNC get BKBs, if they can win like that fight and the fight after, I think they're going to be in prime position. You're Radiant. Still, I feel like Die is much better than what it used to be for Roshan, but Radiant, you get those 2 fights, you get the Ages, you can go from there. I think their lane in regards to PA Grim is going to be really strong. That's one thing I'm worried about for Summit, how they're able to be able to combat that lane. So, fine. Out, of course, we have a big shout out to all the partners as well. Of course, none of this would be possible without them. And we've got Mate, the official energy drink. Samsung, the official monitor.
Is it Mate?
Mate is the official energy drink. Samsung, the official monitor, and 188bet, the official betting partners of CDPC. You are right, but it's gonna.
It feels more natural to us, you know?
Yes. All right.
Or double ward at the exact same time as Carlo looks to breach the high ground. It wouldn't be a CDPC game without any kind of early aggression coming through, but see, get the early D ward off.
CDPC. Say really. It's a good tongue twister.
I love CDPC.
What?
CDPC with the BKB.
Alright.
30 seconds
So,
to battle.
So I still hate this Tusk 3.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to justify it, this game in particular. Maybe just because they went for this PA, they're like, look, they've got a lineup that can look to get aggressive-ish onto us, and I don't think they're going to give us the luxury of having a PA and a Doom free farming. So we need to switch the Tusk to being a bit more of the active hero, and like the Doom is going to need to be active, right? So I don't know, like I feel like it just would have been a little too passive if they went for bounties. Okay, we like that.
That's big advantage for someone to start. Mercury's like, as soon as the creeps hit, is probably gonna have 500, close to 500 gold towards the instant bottle rush.
I'm still going Summit.
Yes, after the fall. Yeah, I'm still going TNC.
No, I did it instantly after the Tusk.
Yeah, but definitely the full bounties is not going to make you feel too bad about the prediction.
No.
Easy predict.
Alright, well,
So are you going to get me a Samsung monitor this time when you're wrong at our little prediction contest?
that's not going to happen. I mean, I do still have to get you the mate.
You do?
I will do that
Very
now.
disappointed that you do.
Oh, yeah, so disappointing. I will do that now. I have we got a nice little discount as well, 30% off. So, love to see it. Make sure you guys have 30% off. Carlo? Okay, so we were kind of theory crafting, I suppose, in the draft at how this top lane would work. Do you feel like there's any differences now with a position 3 Tusk, or they're still going to have to kind of play the lane in regards to just pulling and avoiding the Undying?
I think you should just be pulling and avoiding the Undying. I mean, the lane's pushed pretty deep back towards the maybe tier 1 at least, right? But right now, Shazam's doing a pretty good job of just getting a lot of these denies off and preventing Bok from being able to farm. I mean, this is why I hate the 3 Tusk, right? You don't have the greatest right-click damage, so you're not able to secure too many kills in lane. Like, he's got a 20 right-click disadvantage against the Undying. Significant.
Ah, yes, just burn his mana.
Oh, well, that might actually just win them the lane, to be honest, right? Like, to burn 100 mana every 18 seconds against an Undying that wants to be spamming Decay against 2 Strength Heroes, that's such a difference.
Yeah, honestly, that's one thing that I must say, Summit, they didn't block any of their camps. Like, sometimes we see both the hard small camp blocked up and then like an observer ward placed by your outpost to get rid of another camp, and they haven't done any.
I can understand keeping theirs unblocked just because you want to be able to go for these bulls to be able to reset the equilibrium, considering you're up against this lineup that probably should be pulling the entire creep wave through to the lane to enable the Tusk to farm. But yeah, not blocking up that that other camp is a pretty big deal, right?
See bottom lane, Yoe and Mavis. Shriek PA combined together against the Mars and the Rubik. Honestly, was expecting TNC to get a little bit more aggressive as soon as they hit their level 2s, but they're wanting to play this lane passive, it looks like. A Ring of Health is already queued up for Yoe.
I'm not sure how big of a fan. I mean, we saw last game how farmed Crush can get in the lane if you give him the freedom to. And if you're not going to go aggressive like I thought they probably should have last game with a Juggernaut Grimstroke lane, then you're definitely not going to do it with a PA Grimstroke lane where you're going this more passive Ring of Health build. So I feel like Crush is just on track to have a really free game again, at least for the first 10-15 minutes.
It looks like the mid lane is having a pretty good game as well. Mercury. It's in a bit different of a matchup into the Ember Spirit instead of the Storm Spirit in game 1, but it's like Chris is having honestly a better time though. Like we haven't even seen any support rotations, unfortunately. He's gonna waste his time trying to pick up the bounty rune to help out with the resources. He might be in trouble, Krish. They're going to push him away from the water room. Trezam dropping the tombstone. Krish going to be able to hold back Mercury, though.
Supposed to farm with this. I mean, he's trying to book his way towards the water in on the bottom side, but even that one's going to be covered. There, I mean, you do have Mavis starting to make the rotation through, so at least it should be the Lesh not getting the water rune, but he might still. Hey.
All according to
Relatively poorer movements coming through from TNC this game, that's for sure.
Is this
So,
where
like, every single time this moved, it was a winner.
is this where a tactical feed comes into play? Although you kind of don't want to do it for first blood, but yeah, you
Not first. I mean, you're already losing all 3 lanes, so thing that's just going to accelerate that is not ideal.
it's the quiet. They're just letting everything brew. 2,000 net lead for Summit. I guess for them quietly being able to go a very, very big net worth lead at the early phase, but we were definitely both mentioning that TNC their lineup
Radiant's
is
top tower is under attack.
honestly, I thought the safe lane was going to go a lot better, but it's like you said, Doom, PA, you're going to take some time. The tempo is really going to come through from the Ember Spirit throughout the early game, combined with the Grimstroke as well. But yeah, I must say I'm a bit surprised they're not playing this bottom lane aggressive.
I think the fact that you've changed this Doom to be the position 4 also changes other things, right? Like, are you really wanting your Ember, Doom, and Grimstroke to be the ones making rotations? Probably not. Like, what is a Doom actually adding to that rotation, right? He's doing his best to try and influence the water rune situation as try and protect up here on the top side. Oh, Mercury still ends up bottling it, but might fall down here.
Oh, Krish, he might be killed off though. Telekinesis under the tower. Still got the remnant to retreat out. Now, Box snowboard under. You got some mana to play with. You lost the regen. Box actually going to step back up. TNC, they brought 4 heroes to the battle as Mavis was going to try and charge his way into the middle, but the Tombstone, they dealt the split away from the Grimstroke. It's going to be Trezam fighting first, but they can keep chasing down Carlo as well. Get the Tombstone Scorched Earth in a couple of seconds to try and help with that movement speed advantage, but we will not get enough distance in that box. E2's going to be under the pump. They will not be able to chase him down, so Summit Gaming find 2 kills.
They were so close to being able to land so much, right? It was good that they were able to remove the regen buff, but Krish really would have loved to have that in the laning stage. And again, it's just another situation comparable. 1,000 net worth differential in all 3 lanes, and when you consider the amount of time that Box spent away from this lane, not actually getting anything, it's a pretty big deal. I mean, Unknown's just going to continue to free farm.
Oh, the stack's looking. Double the hard. Any of the ancients? Yeah, double the ancients as well. Becker's going to take one of them. So, looks like Summit, not only have they done a very good job in all their lanes, but also making sure they look to try and help out with Medusa's rapid farming rate.
Also gone. Made sure to do it after the 7-minute mark. I love that efficiency. So getting a nice early Fairies Trinket for a Leshrac, probably one of the best items that you could hope for.
What do we feel like Summit are able to do with this net worth lead? Who's kind of the one hero that they can continue to propel this good start with?
Just having to think about it, but the reason I'm a little quiet here is just considering what the mindset was with these quick buy items that you've got queued up. Like, I know they love going into the Yule Scepter, as he's actually stalked here by Crush, who's just underneath the Radiant Vision though. But it's not as good of a Yule Scepter game as last time around, right? Like, you don't have any...
Look, it's going to be on to CZY. Use of the Arcane Rune should be able to chase him down. He's got 2 more Remnants available. He's going to use the last one to close the distance and find TNC's first blood.
You get what I mean, right? Like, Yule Scepters on both the Leshrac and the Mars. I can understand the Lesh. Mars, not so much, right? Like, what exactly are you interrupting? What are you exactly setting up for Yule Scepter? Really only able to be used offensively against the Ember Spirit now.
Mercury? Could be in trouble. Kylo and Bok trying to close the distance. Simultaneously in the river, they do kill off Mavis. Mercury's not going to be an easy one to bring down, though, as Bok chucked further into the river, does get out of the radius of the Split Earth, spears off the mark as well. Now Trezam's beelining to the neighborhood. Only level 1 in Tombstone, and it's not even in range as well to get some zombies spawning. So, I guess Summit, though, that is a successful use of the arena. So you get the kill onto the support and a D-ward as well.
Still a 5k advantage, man. That's the thing that I'm looking at. This is an early 5k advantage with a Medusa lineup. Like, Unknown, again, he is free farming. There's only so many times you could say that without sounding like a broken record, but it's exactly what's happening. You've just gone for this like 0 aggression early game build with rotations that haven't worked out to enable Krish. Again, going to rely on some pretty significant outplays for them to be able to come back into this one.
Can definitely happen. I think for me, I'm just looking at how they utilize this Ember and Grimstroke pairing, because we kind of saw the rotations. You know, TNC was starting to flirt with this possibility of like Ember Grim and maybe a +1 being Bok on the Tusk. So he's probably going to be the one that needs to continue to make some plays, and giving Carlo a little bit of time to especially find his level 6 is going to be important, and maybe that Blink Dagger as well can help out with some of their initiation issues. But it's just, I guess the concern for me is like TNC, how do you take towers? So how do you open up the map to really set up for these pick-off potentials?
You don't. It's the real answer to that, as Summit takes another attack.
Radiant's bottom
Blame Trezam?
Yep. Coming through here as well.
Oh my god, just blows a 1. I don't know how they kill Unknown.
No, he's only got 1 point in the mana shield.
Is under attack.
Be able to make it back to the safety of the tier 2. Maybe Krish goes for Trezam instead. 3 points in the site, not enough burst. So again, across the map, we do see Mavis going down.
So they've got tower taking issues. Their lanes weren't as good. They're incredibly greedy. They're not able to make early plays, and they have trouble killing the Medusa. Like, I feel like there's just so many issues with TNC's draft, and like they need a way to like burst the Undying 100-0 or a Rubik 100-0 to be able to start a lot of these engagements. And I honestly don't think the Ember Spirit and Grimstroke are going to be enough. It's actually going to rely on like a Blink Dagger from Bok, or hell, even just having an impact at the start of these team fights, just for that burst damage before they're able to react. Like, if you can Flesh Golem and drop the Tombstone, that's a win in my eyes, if you're like committing a full-on gank to try and kill an Undying.
Do you think the one, like, other silver linings, the fact that PA still flawless? I know it's, well, top of the net worth in regards to TNC's heroes, so it's not like he's being completely shut out of this game. He's going for this kind of Battle Fury rush, Brown Boots, Wand, and he's only got 1 more component. Crushes under the ward. He's gonna try to close the distance. He can use a defensive arena if required. They're even gonna cancel the TP. Looks like Crush still will go down nonetheless. Already used at the last second. Now Mercury's able to close. The Doom comes out, but the Pulse Nova's still ticking. They have to respect the damage from the Leshrac. Careful about diving under the tower. That will not be required as Chris rotates over. Sly is enough to secure the kill. CZY actually goes back in with the Remnant, but off to the side, they're able to bring down Trezam. So there we go. TNC find 3 and think they might be able to add it to a 4th. No, CZY gets ya. No, what happened? I swear Lesh cancelled his
Rubik
TP.
cancelled TP.
Okay, that was Rubik.
cancelled.
It looked like Lesh.
Yeah.
I was so confused.
Dire's middle tower is
It
under
would have been very
attack.
different, of course, if
Under
Rubik was
attack.
there from the beginning, and if Undying had it. He had to walk up through the entire Radiant lineup, meant that he wasn't able to drop the Tombstone. He's just got 1 point in the Soul Rip, which I'm
Radiant's
kind of
middle
surprised
tower
about, to
is
be
under
honest. I mean, I
attack.
know he's against a couple of heroes in his lane, but realistically, that doesn't really change too much of anything. You don't have the mana pool as a position 5 to be able to spam that stuff out. He's going for power treads as well on the Undying.
Radiant
Pretty odd
are
build.
scanning.
What do you mean? What's wrong with power treads to the Ag shot, huh?
Uh-huh.
Oh, what the hell? What's that? Come on, man.
I mean,
Gosh. Aggressive Yules, but... Oh. Spear.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
the first instances of the Yule
Radiant
Scepter.
structures are fortified.
We're going to rally around this mid lane, though. Of course, Mercury, as the Arcane Rune, has a Yule Scepter of his own, and he's a Leshrac. Doesn't have
Radiant's
Diabolic
middle
Edict for another
tower
10
is under
seconds, but they can
attack.
certainly look to
Under
put
attack.
some more pressure in onto some of these towers, and well, if you can even make rotation through to the Radiant Triangle with a Leshrac, you might be able to steal away some of the PA
Radiant's
stacks
middle
that she
tower
needs to be able to catch.
Dire's top
They were a
tower
little quick
is
on
under
that smoke,
attack.
though. Some lingering vision. Playing very close to the tree line on all their important heroes. You can see Yoe popping the blur as he's looking to make the retreat back to the lane.
They're onto the Ember. Cullen needs to try and disrupt the combination, but there's nothing he can do to protect his core. And he too will join him in the afterlife. Now maybe this is going to be cautious. A bit too far forward to Crush once again. He's able to find the Yules to block off the retreat on the Grimstroke, and now you're just feeding away kills.
CZY is just having a solid enough game. He could buy the Aghanim Shard now if he wants to, especially as well. But, I mean, if you can have a Blink Dagger on a Rubik at 17, 18 minutes, I think you'll take that every chance you get. Speaking about Flawless, well, the only one that's left with that scoreline is Unknown. Just sitting there extending his lead further and further, level 14. Good 4,000 net worth ahead of a PA at 16 minutes.
So Unknown is having a very good game as TNC. Oh, this Observer Ward mid just give him so much information on Summit. Hang on, what? Well, okay, Crush. He's still gonna be in trouble, even though they smoked under the ward.
Radiant's
Yeah.
I was just gonna highlight this ward. I just saw TNC trying to set up on the creep wave that Lesh almost went for another one on. If she did, she would have killed off or scouted out the smoke, but unfortunately it looks like they were not paying attention. So a big pick up onto the Mars. We'll see if they can get anything out of
Radiant's
this.
bottom tower is under attack.
Yoe.
Dire's top tower is
Oh
under
no, Mr.
attack.
Yoe. TPs are starting to rain in, but it will not matter. What? What is the damage?
Dire's structures
Yeah, that's a
are
Leshrac
fortified.
that's incredibly farmed. And the extra point of the Pulse Nova.
Dire's top
This is
tower
looking bad
under
for
attack.
TNC. Like, they are just crumbling under the constant pressure coming through from the Summit. And again, this is just on the back of what they drafted. You literally did not draft any
Radiant's
early game
bottom tower
aggression.
is
We were
under
saying that
attack.
the Ember Spirit was like the hero that could actually look to try and create some tempo, but it would have just resulted in a
Dire's
horribly
top
lost
tower
lane, and
is under
wouldn't you
attack.
know it,
Is
that's
under
exactly
attack.
what happened. You really have to set yourself up with the lanes to have any kind of mid-game potential or ganking potential. Like, they were just saying, okay, well, we're going to lose all 3 lanes and then see how it goes from there.
It's not going to get any easier. You got Blink Dagger now completed on Crush. Inkswell was stolen as well. He's not going to have too long to work with. There's definitely one more fight. So this could be a potent combo. There we go. Crush is going to lead in. It'll be onto the Tusk instead. So they got to be perfect with the chain control. This is Snowball. will come out to disrupt this, but not fast enough. And now Mavis, he's going to be chased down as well. They were going to telekinesis Crush further into the middle. If they can get the soul mine, which she hasn't even got leveled up, so there won't be a threat of the double doom.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Oh boy, and they've got a regen on the bottom side. So Mercury, he's just like, well, I got my boots of travel, I got my regen coming through from my Null Tallies, Fairies Trinket, Deuces continuing to farm. Flash Golem, not yet on Trezam, but yeah, there we go. Just to enable them to take roads that much quicker.
Are they going to take this fight?
I mean, you've got Blink Dagger on the Tusk. That's all I'm really thinking that their mindset's going to be. But there we go. Frees up an item spot. Need to make the biggest play he can.
They might be able to get the Mars as well simultaneously. He's going to get dropped by the secret shop. Age is picked up from a no-no. Christian's still going to run them back inside the pit, but he's out of mana. No way to escape. Claws just closing it onto the Ember. Is 2 for 1 in the end. They get the Aged Unknown. I mean, he's already flawless. It's not like it's going to get any easier now with the second life.
A tie to the impurity.
Like I said before, it would need to be
Radiant's top tower
literally
is under
perfect
attack.
outplay
It's under
coming
attack.
through from TNC, and they attempted it, but it's just getting to this stage where you can't look to deal with this. It's a PA game, so I guess any situation is recoverable, but
Radiant's
I'm
top
not feeling
tower has
optimistic.
fallen.
5 levels behind on your carry, you're almost doubling the net worth right now. You've got to deal with that
Radiant's
second
top tower
life
is
coming
under
through
attack.
with the Aegis, and he's just going to look to continue to farm until he's got the Skadi, and then I feel like they can close it out from there.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't even a second Aegis game. Like,
Yeah, and for me is that TNC are not going to have the BKBs before the Skadi. If you had double BKB, one on your way, one on Christian, maybe in a world I could see a team fight where they are able to edge a victory. Because that's really the big thing I'm looking at. Like, it's going to mitigate pretty much all of Lesh's damage. Mars is, I mean, he really hates versing BKBs. The duo supports on Summon aren't really going to be able to do much, but Skadi is definitely a great way to be able to go through the BKBs. So they're probably also just too far ahead for it to really matter. As nice reactions from Crush.
there haven't been too many mistakes that they've made so far on Summit, right? Just that river movement from Crush around the smoke timing, but other than that, it's been pretty much flawless. You've got the Skadi coming out to the Medusa now. She's got level 3 ultimate skilled up. You've got a creep wave pushing into this bottom lane. Bridge going to do his best with the Maelstrom to be able to bit of deep push happening
Radiant's bottom
as
tower
this
is under
Leshrac is
attack.
coming in, but
Under attack.
unfortunately for him, he was just a little bit too slow about that range creep. So Lesh completes the TP, at least removes the back door. It's actually a pretty big deal considering if they wanted to use the Clip of Fortification now, clear out a creep, sorry, a siege creep, but wanting to save that for the high ground because this really feels like the
Dire's
game
middle
deciding
tower is under attack.
team fight
Is under
that's
attack.
set to come, and they're not ready on TNC. They don't have the items that they need.
Dire's structures
Crush in a
are
position to be able to
fortified.
counter initiate.
Dire's middle tower is under
And like you
attack.
said, not ready, and I don't know how you're going to kill Unknown twice in this fight.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
I think you have to give it up. They smoke like they want to take the fight. We haven't really seen the soul. Well, yeah, he just leveled Soulbind, so potential for double doom. It's a long wraparound here for TNC.
It's like that Yoe's continuing to farm and not just stand around inside the base, but
Full wraparound.
coming up.
They got the vision.
Radiant's
How do you enter the fight, though? They're going to try Carl in the back lane. They're going to find the Rubik. Double Doom's out as well onto the left track. It's honestly a decent start to the fight. They stole the Doom, though, so CZY, a little taste of his own medicine, back on to Mr. Carlo. And yeah, it was nice. It was a good combo. It was a beautiful wraparound, but in the end, at 3 for 1, you don't even bring down the Aegis.
are under attack.
No. And CZY was just having some fun there, just
Dire's
done
middle tower is
quick
under
for
attack.
them, just of it. I mean, you are
Barracks has
you
fallen.
can't be clowning around too much. Still able to claim that melee racks. You're going to be feeling very happy about that. Again, it's pretty rare that you're able to siege the high ground on the first Aegis timing, so the fact that Summit were able to get so much out of that engagement, they'll be feeling very solid. Got the Doom for the next attempt that they're looking to make. You can even see with Bok as well with his item build. he had a BKB queued up for the longest time, but it really does feel like the only way they're going to come back is off the back of a Summit misplay where they just extend a little bit too far. You're able to get that kick further back into the base underneath some tier 4s and get a win based off of that.
Yeah, I really do not think this game is over. It has to be the perfect defense, but I think this is the beautiful thing about having a repositioning tool, especially because again, I will always mention we've seen TIs and we saw what Spirit was able to do with the skewer as we hold that thought TNC. Smoke up Doom still on cooldown. Just gonna lead the charge, try and catch out Summit with their pants down. Maybe jumping Josam, it's gonna be a lot of burst. Wow,
just a support though. Doesn't really matter.
Oh, it doesn't, but it would have been nice if Bok got the kill. Bok got the kill, like 372 gold, given over to the task, close to the scepter. And again, they are itemizing. I really like what they're doing. Mavis is going scepter, and of course we've spoken about the task. So you're going to kick the Deucer back to the tier 4 towers, shards to lock her in. Maybe you can have
Doomer.
Doomer as well, or you can do maybe the Rubik or Crush, whoever can jump in to offer some assistance. And forced repositioning, you will always have a way back into the game. I do not care how far behind you are. There's going to be outliers, but it will always give you a crafty way to be able to take a fight when you are behind.
Radiant's middle
Plus with the
tower is
PA, right?
under
We've
attack.
seen plenty of times
Again,
that
they're all grouped up. They're going to jump into the middle, but the Stolen Doom onto the Tusk. So Mercury can solo down Bok with ease, and simultaneously Arena used from Crush. Able to get rid of another easy pickings as Krish.
Radiant's middle
Doesn't
tower is
expend the
under
BKB.
attack.
Crush able to close the distance.
You feeling Crush or
Dire's
Krish this
bottom
game?
tower is under
I don't know.
attack.
I'm trying not to
Radiant's
get
middle
myself
tower
twisted.
is under attack.
But although I mean,
Radiant's
Crush is
middle tower
looking.
has fallen.
Trying to find a pump, but it's just not coming. Crush is
It's not.
looking good. He's looking good. I'm quite
Radiant's
impressed
top
with his
tower
performance this
is
game.
under
And
attack.
again, in game one, like he had a very. It was just the last 10 minutes were a bit grim for Mr. Crush.
Just on your point before, I do like the way that they're itemizing Carlo.
Always gonna try and go
He's
for a
gonna
solo kill. Carlo as well. Mid lane. They're gonna push him back into the tower. They don't have any cancel. They stole the wall stomp.
So what I was saying before was the I like how they're itemizing for the potential to win, right?
Yes.
This isn't like, oh, what can we get that's value right now that's going to maybe stall the game out for another couple of minutes? No, they're like, okay, if we can get Aghanim Scepter on Grimstroke and Tusk, we could potentially win this game if they take a poor engagement into the high ground.
How close are they to these items? Grim's got Philosopher,
close.
so one more component. Tuskers need a decent chunk of gold, and I guess high ground probably shouldn't be under threat without the Aegis. Maybe though you have the DD and also a fresh BKB on the Medusa to be able to poke the high ground.
Radiant are scanning.
BKB's not going to be able to do that much,
Dire's
though.
bottom tower
Like,
is under attack.
I don't know. Like, I'm not feeling super confident about the BKB, right? Because if you get kicked back underneath the tower, let's say, you get doomed. PA's all physical damage. As long as you're just not able to get off Stone Gaze, I think you're very satisfied with TNC of just going for that.
I think this is
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
really looking to see how someone can just close this game out. I know it's a kind of a weird thing
They
to
got the
say.
kick.
See? I know it's kind of a weird thing to say. Like, they got a 16,000 net worth lead, but again, this is an open qualified team, an inexperienced team. We kind of saw the issues come out. There's nice scan as well. Top color. Gonna be in trouble or not. Mercury setting up in this lane. Yeah, we did see kind of the inexperience really come out though in game one. Like, some of their decision making towards the end really cost them. So
Dire's bottom tower
it
is
might
under
be an
attack.
issue for this just kind of close out games when they're really far ahead.
Carlo. Oh no. Poor guy. He did a really good job of just skirting the edges of that team fight. He was using the Tumbler's toy to get over a lot of trees.
The bottom lane, they're on the Phantom Assassin. Forced to pop the BKB.
Disrupt his farming though. That's the important thing. And no BKB is another one. So They're just going to be like, all right, well, let's look to group up as much as we can, either to push up into the high ground or just contest into the next road, which Razam has scouted out. So again, it's just going to be up to some individual outplays coming through from TNC. Can Krish go for the Yopaj style snatch of the Aegis of the Immortal? Doesn't really feel like he has the freedom to do that.
How disappointed are you that Razam didn't buy the Ag shard? And do they give the shard to him now?
Roshan has fallen to the dark.
I should. What's with the power trends, man? I don't know.
God, my guy's beefy though. 2400 health?
I guess you have the strength multiplier on the flesh golem, which will be nice. And if he's spamming out the decay, you can just tread switch every single time. MKB as well on unknown, so even a PA not going to be all that impactful. Very close to being able to pick up the Desolator. Yay. 7.
This is the setup for TNC. They've got a ward outside the base, so they're going to see the backline. This will give them an opportunity so Bot can jump in, kick back one. Again,
I for the damage.
I do not think you doom Deucer now with the Aegis. Maybe without Aegis you would do it, but now I think Mavis and Carlo at the same time they have to. You reckon they still do it?
I think they do if they kick her back into base, right? Because that means she's not going to be able to get Stone Gaze off, and by the time she respawns, you'll have Walrus kick back up to kick her into the fountain.
Okay. Got to be pretty perfect with your chain control. Bot's gonna
oh no, Bob.
Alright, well, you know, Crush Ball as soon as Wally gets the Ember Spirit. There's no way they can keep him alive, and that. Well, the theory crafting might not have worked out too well.
Radiant's
You can theory craft all you want, but if the execution isn't there, that's what happens.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
This is game. They can't come back from this. 30 seconds, you're going to lose the probably 2 lanes of racks here. I mean, you only got the range racks left on the bottom side. He's doing his best to try and clear it out, but even if you get that kickback now, it feels like you're just too far behind to be able to even mount a comeback.
Radiant's middle tower has
The
fallen.
barracks soon to be claimed. They got one more fight left in them on TNC. Really not a lot expended. What was it, Arena, Stone Gaze? They're going to smoke up as well to make sure it's not easy for TNC. Box going to show. Kick back under the tower. Wants to play now. Dark Portrait's out, but the damage it's minimal. No one else is jumping unknown, so they take the Dark Portrait. Yo, wait. He wants to find the easier target into the Undying, but instantly looking to buy back and return the fight. Unknown's going to be cautious there.
Okay.
Okay. Aegis claimed.
Megas.
Alright though, Megas gonna keep them locked in for the moment. Unknown, so has the BKB to work with. Krish the backline though, but meanwhile defensive telekinesis offers the reposition for Unknown, but they're still hunting. They're still looking to take the fight. The Doom is out, but meanwhile Crush, that's a beautiful arena onto 3, splitting the fight in half, so the follow-up is lacking. Box gonna kick the Medusa into the middle of the fight, but that is exactly where Unknown wants to be positioning. The buybacks are starting to rein in, but I don't think it matters anymore. You had this one opportunity, and okay, oh, well, they'll get her. Get her in the end, but like the consequences, it's pretty grave.
Yeah, I mean, you've still been megged. 3 buybacks expended on Summit. I'm a little surprised that Lesh ended up doing his. I know he's got the boots of travel to potentially rejoin the team fight, but no megas. Just don't give them the win condition like you did in the last game. Very nicely done by CZY to put his own life on the line to be able to get that initial telekinesis off onto the Medusa. Time she won't buy back. Won't buy back. I'm putting that out in the world. But speaking of things that are being bought, Yoe, he's queued up our favorite item. Let's see if he can get there anytime soon. It's going to be rough into Megas. Don't have the greatest heroes at being able to clear out these creep waves. Arlo nearly died just trying to defend a single lane. Are you on board yet with the offlane Tusk is a terrible idea mentality that I have?
I think they played the lane interestingly, as they didn't play for pools, which I think that would have looked very different.
It would have looked even worse if they didn't get the mana burn creep as well. Like they got very lucky there.
That is, yeah, that's very true. I don't know. You have a lot more hate, one way to put it, for the Mr. Offlane task. And I'm not there just yet. I think there are other things that kind of proved to be an issue for TNC. Might have one last fight for them. They got everything up. They're up in 5, so they will. I think really one thing we overlooked in the draft is that if they fall behind in their lanes, how do they catch up on TNC? And we started to see it, and we mentioned it, like their tower taking potential and in general just objective taking potential with a poor Phantom Assassin, it really proved to be an issue, because then you can't really play with this tempo controlling threat that they were wanting with the Grim Ember, so your way back in this game is very difficult. It's kind of off the back of Summit just playing poorly and being out of position across the map, so bit of an issue.
That's why I was so gung-ho about the Lina pick, right? Just because you're not going to lose the lane. You're going to have a tower taker. You're going to have someone that can scale against the Medusa, and they just do it.
Look at jammed positioning. The team, so should be a free kill onto the Undying. Who's keeping? It's going to be Mercury. The pop the link. Doom is out protected for the BKB for the moment, but Yowie used his early as well. So Lesh still going to tick out in the end. And wait, they kicked him out of arena. So everyone lives on TNC. They want to go back in. They've got the wall to the high ground, so they're stalking Summit. Can they all make it out? Yowie jumping Crusher, BKB protected for the moment. Once again, splitting away from the Medusa. Refresher's going to be popped, so offering Crush the defensive factor with the BKB if required.
All the while, though, tier 4 towers are getting hit by Megas, so you're going to need to defend at some point. Pretty early to be up against Megas, so, you know, this lane creeps don't do too much against them. They're not at the point where they're going to be scaling yet. Now, 35 minutes in, we've got the siege creep wave, so I feel like you need to deal with that before you're able to make another aggressive movement. But, I mean, you're in a rough spot. Nothing that you do feels right on TNC right now, just because of how far behind you are.
Summit. They're playing over the ward. They're going to look to blow up the Medusa. Chris dealing with the backline supports as well. Look at those damage. Rips apart the Doom. Yowie is really hesitant to jump. Finally, he's going to show his card. It's a lot of damage onto the Medusa for the moment. The man is being burnt, but Yowie's charging to the middle. One more shot. Gets the Phantom Assassin, and with that kill, that will be all she wrote for our second game. We are going the distance here for our first series of the Summer Tour.
Now that was a lot more like I expected in game number 1, right? Summit, they just have the far superior draft in my eyes, and they didn't make any huge mistakes. You know, there was a surprise one, of course, but that quite so bad.